In today's video, we're really going to be focusing on that whole totally awesome guilt-free life thing and figuring out what that looks like for you and how you can actually achieve it, maybe using a vision board. Hey guys, what's up? Lauren Golden. Welcome to Free Mama TV, or welcome back, as the case may be. I am the founder of The Free Mama. I help moms ditch the 9-to-5, start a virtual business, work from home, and live a totally awesome guilt-free life. If that sounds good to you and you'd like to learn how to do that, make sure you subscribe. Tune in with me every Tuesday when I drop a new episode. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I first think about vision boards, I think about girls' nights and wine and magazines and scissors and glue and I don't know, pictures of huts in Fiji and designer handbags and white sand beaches. And that's all great and wonderful, except I don't know that one of those nights ever led me to a white sand beach with a designer handbag and Fiji. So what we're going to talk about is, yes, vision boards, but more importantly, how do you actually create a vision and then manifest those things happening? And glue, scissors, and magazine pictures may or may not actually be required in what you watch in today's video. It's not that vision boards are bad, although I typically don't make them in full transparency. Instead, I'm really clear on my goals, and I have a whiteboard, and I use phrases that stand out to me, because so many of the vision boards that are created out there just are not effective. Okay. It's kind of like going and redoing your website 25,000 times and thinking that's going to get you clients, or going and creating a bunch of stuff behind the scenes and thinking that that's going to have an impact in your business. It's just not. It's focusing on the wrong things. And I want to help you in today's video take this concept of a vision board and ultimately live, and after envisioning, live this totally awesome guilt-free life. And how do we actually connect those dots? Because the magic is not in the glue in the magazine articles. First of all, according to research, the brain actually doesn't even need to see something in order to believe it. Right off the bat, I just think of Santa Claus. But more importantly, what does this mean for you? It means the magazine clippings of Fiji and designer handbags and all these things, like just seeing that in your brain, it doesn't actually make you believe that it's possible for you, which means that your actions probably aren't going to change and align you to have that be your destiny, right? It just means you're looking at something really pretty, and it doesn't even address the feelings that might get evoked when you actually look at those things. All that to say, you might actually be doing more harm than good when it comes to reaching your goals. On the flip side, your brain does need to believe something in order for you to see it and create your path to actually having it. So seeing a mansion doesn't actually get you any closer to living in one. Believing that you are going to live in a mansion, whether you see it or not, is actually going to enable that process to happen. So make sure you stick around, because watching this video is going to help you figure out exactly what you should be doing instead in 3 simple steps. Okay, so step number 1 is actually designing your life. The problem with going into an activity like this is that you're just flipping through and kind of like waiting to maybe be inspired or see something that you feel like you should want, or that society tells you that you should want, but you're not actually in charge of this process. So instead, you should actually start with pen to paper. Like, even if you're going full-blown scrapbooking vision board, you should never just start by searching and waiting for something. You should take control by designing what you want your life to look like. I'm going to walk you through a couple things that will help you do that. The first step is think about 5 to 10 goals that you have for yourself for your life. So 5 to 10 goals, and let's get in that train of thought. But before you move on from this, make sure you write them in the present tense. So again, we're taking pen to paper. You're going to write them down before you go get the magazines, or you get on Canva or Google and you print all these things. So think, like, design your life before you go create this arbitrary vision board. So 5 to 10 goals for yourself, write them down and make sure you put them in present tense as if you've already achieved them. So if you have a goal to have a certain amount of revenue in your savings account, for example, like say, I have $1 million in my bank account, or whatever that thing is, like write it down like it's already happened. Okay. So after you've done that, the next step that I want you to do is actually define what success looks like for you. Because what happens, both in my own experience as well as a lot of my peers, is that you go down this path, you have this goals, especially High Achievers Unite, like this video if you're a fellow high achiever. I am a super high achiever. And so what happened a lot in my life in early phase of my business is I would set a goal. I'm going to write a book. Check it off. I'm going to, hit the 2 Comma Club award. Okay, check. Like, I'm going to speak at this event. Okay, check. And the problem is with us high achievers is we're always striving. We're always going to the next thing. And yeah, maybe we stop to celebrate or maybe we don't. But the problem is we don't ever actually define when we are successful. And so the problem is we're constantly focused on the future and whatever it's going to take to get there, but it doesn't have any meaning. There's no feeling behind it. So think about first how you define success. And after you write that down, just really marinating it for a second, because what I found in my peers is that a lot of people actually sacrifice their definition of success in pursuit of it because they don't take the time to define it. So how do you define success? And then what 5 to 10 things, depending on how many goals you set, what 5 to 10 things will you see and feel when you know you're successful? So now we're getting to like the actual internalization of your goals in this life that you're designing. When you have that house in Fiji, what will that feel like to you? What's that going to look like for your family dynamic, your marriage, your parenting? If you were to have that house or that car or that money in your bank account or become an author, what does it feel like? What does it look like? And how will you know that you have arrived so that you're not like forward thinking, like it's never enough. I got to hit the next, milestone path that so many high achieving entrepreneurs get stuck on. So 5 to 10 goals for yourself in the present tense. How do you define success? And what 5 things will you see and feel when you know that you've actually arrived there? Okay, so that's the first step. Number 2, before you get all happy, cutting and gluing, and I know that's what everybody wants to see in this video, you're not getting it from me. You can, again, there's so many resources, but like before you go look for those visuals or those quotes or whatever that inspire you, now we actually have some context. Right? So we have the goals. We know what images and types of things that we're looking for that are actually in alignment for us rather than stuff that just looks some kind of way. In fact, in my own experience, there are a lot of like very successful type images out there, but for me, they're actually triggering. Like maybe it is out of alignment for me personally. Maybe it's something that like when I see it, it doesn't make me feel abundance or like striving. It makes me feel lack, like I'm never going to have that, or, I don't even know that I want that, but society tells me I should, and all these different things. So you want to build your vision board in alignment for your version of success and your goals, and not just a bunch of stuff that you think that successful people have. So don't get all cutting yet. We have one more thing that we have to do before we can move on to that. And that is step number 2, which is to become aware of your current self. So I want you to think about a couple things. The first is, why are these goals important to you? These things that you wrote down. And what, if anything, is currently holding you back from actually having them? You have to address what your current biggest fears are and have this level of self-awareness of what do you want, what motivates you. And you have to think about how you're going to feel both now, but also to have that thing. So ask yourself some of these questions, spend some time journaling, but you have to become aware of your current self in the process of designing your future life for yourself. Again, so that there's a saying, you don't want to start climbing a mountain and realize you're on the wrong mountain, right? Like that's a lot of work. So we've got to do this internal work before we create the vision so that we make sure that we're climbing the mountain that we actually want to get to the top of. All right, that brings us to number 3, which is to act as if. And before I dive into this, I want to be really clear that acting as if is not the same as faking it until you make it. When you fake it till you make it, by definition, you don't even believe it because you know that you are faking it. Okay. So I'm not asking you to go be someone you're not. Once you create your vision board and you've got it on your wall and all these things happen, like it's not, oh, I'm going to pretend like I have these things but I don't believe it. No, we're going to act as if. And so after you've made your vision board, maybe you place it in your office or your bathroom or wherever you're going to see it, maybe you focus on it, maybe you meditate on it, maybe it just gets random glances. At the end of the day, it's an art project at best. But in order for it to really create changes in your life from this vision, you have to start acting like the person who already has these things. So kind of said another way, when you are faced with opportunities, choices, prospective clients, invitations to go do stuff, any sort of crossroads, which really happens like 50,000 times a day, I want you to use your vision board as a decision-making filter. Okay. So instead, don't just react how you would react today. If you have a challenge with a prospective client, if you have an opportunity to go on a trip, whatever the thing is, don't just react as you would today. Use your vision board to reflect back to you the future self, the future picture of success that you have designed for yourself. And ask yourself, how would the person living this vision, living in this vision board's world, how would they react? How would they show up? How would they present themselves? How do they treat or handle their money? How does this person spend their time? How does this person treat other people? And here's what's really cool. This is where the magic happens. This is where over time, the gap between the person who created the vision board and the person in the vision board, it starts to close, and you will actually become that person and embody those feelings that you imagined way back in step one, before you even started the vision board and you were writing out this roadmap for yourself of creating this vision for your future life. The gap will close, and it can happen faster than you think. So again, design your life before you start cutting and gluing. Make sure you have self-awareness for where you're at now, how you feel, and how you want to feel, and get actually connected to the things that you are putting out there. And step 3 is to act as if. Just creating a poster board isn't going to get you anywhere. Manifestation does not work that way. You have to actually believe that you are capable of being that person, and then start making decisions today like that person will, and that gap will close, and you will get closer to having the things inside of that vision. Last thing before we wrap up, my favorite quote all time, Henry Ford. It's in my book like 100 times. Not really, but like 5. Whether you think you can or think you cannot, you are right. This is not just an opinion. This is actually science. The brain has to believe it in order for you to move for it. So hoping, lusting after a vision board full of Range Rovers and diamonds or whatever, that absolutely doesn't mean stuff to you emotionally, or you're not connected to with your feelings, it's not going to happen. Okay. So make sure you believe that it is possible for you. You're emotionally connected to the goals that you set. It does not matter what anybody else thinks or is doing. And this will be the power of changing your life and moving towards that totally awesome guilt-free vision you've created for yourself. So if you found this helpful, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear if this aligns with the current vision board that you maybe have done or have not done for yourself. And make sure you join us in the Free Mama Facebook group as well. And I will see you here next time on Free Mama TV. We drop new episodes every Tuesday. So if you haven't hit that bell yet, what are you waiting for? I am envisioning a feeling that feels good when you are hanging out with me on Free Mama TV. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time.